Good morning and welcome to the Land Grant
Thank
Seminar
you.
Series 2025 spring semester. I think the semester is winding quite well, and we have a busy month with lots of activities. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have some great activities around the campus here, around college, especially. We will have on Friday, we have some launch of the book that we are having next week here on campus, on this location, with other activities as well. So it's my pleasure today to have one of our great leaders in the college to be speaking to us today about her program. So I invite Trevor to introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. Good morning, everyone. I have been summoned to introduce my boss. So Dr. Takedra Pierre is the Director of Information, Impact, and Sustainability Center and visionary founder of Agletics. Dr. Pierre launched Agletics to increase awareness of the Dr. Pierre launched Agletics to increase awareness of the tripartite land grant mission in agricultural literacy among student athletes. Her leadership reflects a deep commitment to the land grant mission of PVAMU, integrating teaching, research, and community outreach. Under her guidance, Agletics is poised to become a national model for how universities and industries can combine experiential education, athletic performance, and community wellness. Dr. Pierre's work emphasizes innovation, collaboration, and the development of future-ready leaders who understand the role of agriculture in building healthy, resilient communities. She continues to advocate for agricultural literacy and holistic student-athlete development and is recognized for her forward-thinking approach to merging academic disciplines in ways that create lasting impact. Dr. Takedra Pierre, Director of Information, Impact and Sustainability Center, College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. Let's give it up for Dr. Pierre.
Thank you, Trevor. I had no idea Trevor was going to introduce me, so that was pretty cool.
She has it.
Yeah, it's here. Here.
It's not. I got video.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. I'm super excited to be here and talk to you about Agletics. If you have not heard about Agletics, this is your fabulous opportunity to learn more. And before I get started, I do want to introduce my team briefly. Trevor Mays, that introduced me, is the Assistant Director of Communications, so all things multimedia. Darius Goff. Darius is new. He's been with us for about 3 months. Stephen Berry, most of you already know. Stephen is Multimedia Production Specialist, as well as Darius, Multimedia Production Specialist. We have a handful of interns that could not be here today because they are in class. And then I have Lashika Velasquez, who is the Assistant Director of Event Services that has been with us for about 3 months as well. So thank you again for being here, and let's get started. The Land Grant Seminar Series has been going on since 2013. We celebrated a 10-year anniversary a couple of years ago, and super excited to be here and talk about the Second Moral Act very briefly, because it is the 135th anniversary of that act. And if you were here this past weekend for our Ag Day on the Hill activities, anybody? Okay. We had a really good opportunity to talk to parents, faculty, staff, community members about what we do within the College of Agriculture, but then also what makes us a land grant university. And part of that is our tripartite mission of academics, research, and extension. HTX Sports Tech is the strategic partner behind Agletics. They are a very innovative company that's based out of Houston, deeply rooted into the Houston sports community. And so we're fortunate to have them as collaborators. And if you look from the video, it's all about collaboration. The spirit of Agletics is collaboration. So not just within the college, but colleges across campus, Prairie View A&M University athletics, community collaborators, industry leaders, and we'll talk about some of our industry partners down here in a little bit. So what is Agletics? And I'm just going to ask somebody in the crowd that's not on my team and not the dean, if you could just say what you think Agletics is. Yes.
I think it's a way of teaching students how their nutrition is tied to their athletic.
Good thought. Anybody else? A marriage, yes. Fusion of agriculture and athletics. All good answers. So the future of athletic performance and innovation in agriculture is deeply rooted into Agletics. So it's more than just talking to students about what a football is made out of, what type of turf is on a field. We're really talking about sustainable agricultural practices and increasing agricultural literacy. So Agletics is an opportunity to do that. And through the College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources, we have a really good opportunity to make that happen because of our tripartite mission, because of our ties to the land grant mission. We can bring agriculture and athletics together in a way that hasn't really happened before. So if you've seen something similar, the difference really here is it's tied to Prairie View A&M University as a land grant institution. There are 19 land grant institutions across the country, Prairie View being one of them. And what makes land grant institutions unique is that they have colleges of agriculture. The names may be different, but the concept is the same, and that tripartite mission of academics, research, and extension or community outreach is really important. And that's a big part of what drives Agletics. Agriculture and sports have a common foundation. If you think about it, you need food, right? You need food in order to fuel your body. You need fuel in order to perform. And so Agletics is an opportunity for us to teach. So through education, through community outreach, but also on the experiential side to get student athletes to really understand that connection between nutrition and performance in real time. So not just putting them in a classroom setting like this. We've done things where we've taken fruit to the field for football players, or we've taken jerky to the court for basketball players, so that they really get to understand why certain types of nutrition are important at certain times. So here's the mission. It really is a global model. We started out saying, you know, a local model or a university model, then it turned into a national model. But Agletics has been going for over 2 years now, and we realize that this is a global model for student athlete success and ultimately any student. So Agletics is not just for student athletes or those who play sports, it's for any student, and ultimately it will trickle down into communities because that's what we want. We want communities to have behavior changes that will increase their how do we say, I'm frozen because I'm thinking of some words that I need to tie in a certain way, but we want communities to get healthier and smarter. And so it's not that these things are not happening. It's not that our student athletes don't know about nutrition or the connection between nutrition and performance, but we're introducing it to them in a different way. Empowerment, there you go. We're empowering communities, and whether that's the student athletes, whether it's the students themselves, if it's faculty and staff, we have worked with the University Police Department and presented Agletics to them as well because they saw the value in providing a kind of comprehensive, holistic program for their officers. So the core value is that Agletics develops pathways. Those pathways can look different depending on the partnership and depending on the alignment, but everything is tied back to research. It's very data-driven. It's very rooted into what we want to know. What do researchers have going on right now that can apply to this space? And then what areas need their attention? So as far as Agletics partners, researchers are a big part of that. Wanted to take a minute just to talk about the brand itself. Branding is really important. If you follow us on social media, you've probably seen this graphic somewhere. This is a big part of not just our own recognition and our own branding, but for the community to understand the type of branding that we have, why this program is important, why it's unique, and why that particular word mark is significant. Football has 4 quarters. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. There's a halftime in there. Athletics has 4 pillars. And so we kind of look at this at 4 different quarters. The first one is education. The biggest thing that we want to do is empower student athletes, students, community members to participate in the activities that we create. So those experiential opportunities that I will talk about in a minute, and you'll get to see some of the things that we've done. A lot of the background photos are from different events that we've had. So this one in particular is from a men's basketball retreat that we did with the Meat Science Center of Innovation to give them an opportunity to do a lot of team building in a space that they've never been in before, learn about protein from Dr. Kinman, learn about food microbiology from Dr. Tolan, and our industry partner HTX came and presented about entrepreneurship or life after sports, because less than 2% of athletes will go on to play their sport professionally. So on the research side, driving innovative discoveries, whether that's working with industry collaborators on a particular product, we'll talk about R&D in a minute, but really getting people to understand the intersection between agriculture, wellness, and sports, and how important that is. So whether you play a sports fan, if you watch, whatever the case is, Agletix has something for you. Working with wellness in Houston through Prairie View A&M University Extension, we've been very fortunate to have them as a partner really early on in the Agletix journey. Their mission as well is very similar to have healthier communities. So put that education out there, whether it's nutrition education, financial education, entrepreneurship, so that communities can thrive and people can be empowered to take control of their own individual lives. So wellness is really important because we want our student athletes to make that connection, not just as an athlete on the field, but after they graduate. It's life skills. So we're teaching them life skills, not just how to perform better, how to run better, how to be faster. It's really a life skills approach. And then, of course, community. So connections, again, not just within the college and the research and extension and academics that happens here, but across campus and then locally and then throughout the state of Texas, the nation, and globally. Our students are a big part of Agletix, not just the student athletes, but the students here within the College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. They have given a lot of input of what they want to see out of this initiative, and we listen. And so not just our students, but our student athletes have given a lot of feedback about what they want to see, what they need. And speaking of needs, there was a needs assessment done for the greater community that included faculty, staff, students, alumni, coaches, a lot of people, and nutrition education was at the top of the list for that data that came back. The Lunch and Learn series that we've hosted, I believe, 4 to date. This was an opportunity for us to connect with coaches, athletic directors, industry partners, deans, faculty and staff across campus, as well as student athletes, kind of give them the Agletix 101 spiel so that they could understand what we were wanting to do. And within the College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources, we have the capacity to serve. That's what we are here to do. Part of that tripartite mission of teaching, research, and service. And so we can partner with Prairie View A&M University Athletics to help strengthen what they're already doing. So it's a real synergistic or a symbiotic relationship where ultimately student athletes may want to major in agriculture or nutrition. And this is really a space that they're not familiar with. When you think about the majors that student athletes pursue, agriculture is not at the top of the list. And part of that is because of just a lack of understanding, not understanding what agriculture is. that it is more than farming, ranching, and dirt or soil, as we would say in this college. So these lunch and learns we had sponsored by Ratcliffe Premium Meats, which is one of our protein partners that I'll talk about in a minute. Really good opportunity, not just to listen to myself or anyone from my team talk about Agletics, but to learn from them about what is it that you want to see? What do you need? How can we help support you? What solutions can we provide? Wellness Wednesdays is something that we established with Wellness in Houston. So it kind of started as my team, or Trevor and I, because we were limited, we weren't as big of a team as we are now, providing tangerines, cuties, bananas, apples, and really seeing the response from particularly the football players, because it was football season at the time. And so we would take this fruit out to them, talk to them about nutrition education, talk to them about the college, and it just blew up. And so we quickly realized we need help, we need support. Let's call Wellness in Houston, because this is what they do. They go into communities, they provide nutrition education and resources. And so partnering with Wellness in Houston, we developed Wellness Wednesdays. So every Wednesday we would take fruit out to the field. And we started out with those bananas, cuties, whole apples. Realized they don't like whole apples, they like apple slices. Integrated pineapples, and a lot of them had not had pineapples either before or had not had them as an adult. Some of them didn't eat bananas. By the end of Wellness Wednesdays, we had no fruit. We had to kind of ration things in a certain way, because the big guys come in last, right? They're like the last ones to come in from the field. And by the time they would get there, we're out. So we'd have to make a run, go get some more. So beginning of the season, we had student athletes that were like, no, I'm good, I don't need that. So we'd have the fruit, we take it to the training room, which we have great athletic training and staff here at Prairie View, and we take it to them, they would distribute. But as the weeks went on, they learned more about fruit as a hydration source. Then it became, okay, Trevor, we need some help. We got Wellness in Houston to come in with a couple of agents, and they would literally cart fruit to the field during practice and take it to them in real time and explain to them why fruit is a adequate hydration source. And in October, it's still 90 degrees outside, sometimes 100 degrees. And those sideline chats that we had with them were really effective to learn more about what they were interested in, the types of fruit that they were familiar with, but then also to educate them and get them to see why this was important. This was not just, you know, here you go, you look like you need some fruit. So everything tied back into talking about the college, talking about Wellness Wednesdays, talking about Wellness in Houston and their mission, and then also getting those student athletes to understand that we exist. So in agriculture, marketing and communications exists. There's social media tied into all of that. Getting them to understand careers outside of their sport, or how they can use the leadership skills that they've gained in their sport to attract to another career. So it really was a unique opportunity to get them to see, again, in real time, how all of this ties in together, to the point that when they would see us on campus outside of practice, can I get a cutie? You have a banana? And I'll talk about Honey Stinger in a minute, because Honey Stinger became a really big partner of ours. This is an overview of a team building retreat that we did for men's basketball. So we invited them out to the Meat Science Center for Innovation. We spent about 4 or 5 hours working with them, talking about protein, getting them to do carcass evaluations and grading. Again, Dr. Tolan talked to them about food microbiology. So she did a hand washing lab with them. So getting student athletes to understand the connection between things like E. coli and going to work out and not washing your hands, and then taking that banana or that apple or going to have lunch, getting them to make those connections. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about life skills, this is not just about student athletes, it's about anyone. So giving our students, student athletes, and community the education that they need to make better decisions. And 100% of the athletes that came to this team building retreat had never been on our farm. 100%. 90% of the coaches that accompanied them, so there were about 8 coaches and staff from athletics, 90% of them had never been to our farm, did not know our farm existed, did not know we had a meat lab, did not know a lot of the things that we take for granted that we do and everybody knows. So this is an opportunity to increase visibility and exposure for the College of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources, as well as all of the programs that we have through extension, through our research, just a lot of opportunities for students and the community to get tapped into what we're doing. This one pager over here kind of highlights what we did with the team, those different activities. Dr. Kinman gave them a tour of the meat lab. So as you saw in the previous pictures, they actually went out to the processing floor, put on that personal protective equipment for the first time, saw a hanging beef carcass for the first time, saw a carcass cut in retail cuts from front to end for the first time. So learned where ground beef comes from, ribeye steaks, T-bones, oxtails, all of that for the first time. So this was a chance for them to not just connect as a team, but have this unique experience. None of them had ever done that before. And so the relationships with this team and their coaches was strengthened through this one session. And we saw that with them throughout the season and the challenges that they faced with injuries or their schedule. A lot of them went back to this moment as kind of the happy place. And this is what we experienced, and this is what we learned together. And remember what Dr. Kinman said, remember what so-and-so said. So these experiences are really a way for us to connect to our student athletes and our community in a way that we just haven't before. We have collaborated with, does anybody know how many sports we have here at Prairie View? Raise your hand if you have that answer of how many NCAA Division I sports we have here on campus. Have a prize for you if you have the answer. 10? No. 24? No. 12? No. Okay, 18. You were close. You were close. You were close. You were close. You were very close. We have we have 18 sports, and Poppy, I will give you your prize. I will. We have 18 sports here. In some capacity, we have connected with all 18 sports. So not through the team building retreat for everyone. It could be the one-on-one sessions. It could be the Aggletics 101 where we go in and talk to the team. It could be the Poultry Center donating eggs to our women's basketball team. It could be Kim Ratcliffe and Ratcliffe Premium Meats driving jerky 250 miles to make sure that our football team had nutrition on their road to Mississippi Valley State, if I'm not mistaken. So we've made these connections across sports. We started with football, and we thought football is the biggest program. We can get a lot of data in a short period of time. It's going to be great. Well, it was great. And then the other coaching staff and other people in athletics saw what we were doing. It was like, hey, can you come? Hey, can you? And it went from there. And so we found ways to integrate Aggletics into what they were already doing and then create these new opportunities like those that you see with the team building retreat. The graphic that you see there is for the cross country invitational. We did that in conjunction with 1013 Day. If you don't know who 1013 is, she is my heifer on the farm, and she's famous, and she will not go to harvest, ... And we have a birthday party for her every year. So this fall will be her 5th birthday, but our 3rd party. So in conjunction with Aggletics and the Cross Country Invitational, all of those schools that came to run on our farm, because the Invitational was on our farm, it was a great opportunity for us to talk about the College of Ag, talk about our farm, talk about Aggletics. And then also Dwight Rhodes, our farm manager, gave some insight into 1013 because we had her on display, for lack of better terms. But she does photo ops. And so all of those schools were able to come out and connect as well as celebrate her birthday. So we do, healthy snacks and fruit. And that's another way through the College of Agriculture that we're connecting with student athletes, we're connecting with the greater community, through things like 10-13 Day and some of the other opportunities we've had with the athletic teams. Men's basketball, again, the team building retreat, but then also showing up, going to their games, going to support. We are always mistakenly known as like the athletics media team. And Trevor is everywhere, Stephen is everywhere, now Darius is everywhere. But this allows us to really get ingrained into what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they operate and what do they need? How can we best support? It's easy for a coach to say, I need this, this, and this, or an athlete to say this and this, but when we can see it firsthand and we know what we can provide or what resource we can offer, or whatever support we can lend, it just helps things to make a lot more sense. So in both men's and women's basketball, the biggest need was education about protein and nutrition and getting them to understand that how they eat, whether it's in MSC, if it's in the dining hall with Sodexo, if it's on the road when they're traveling, every meal is an opportunity to make a better decision. So just because Chick-fil-A is the only option, nothing against Chick-fil-A, but if Chick-fil-A is the only option, there's more than just the fried chicken sandwich and fries. You know, you don't have to have the fried chicken sandwich and fries and extra large lemonade every single time. So giving them those little nuggets of education so that they can make better decisions when they were away from us, not just when they were in front of us, not just when we were having a session. Sustainable Table is an initiative that was created by Kaffner alumni Paris Williams about 1.5 years ago. She's now working for Gordon Food Services up in Boston, I believe. But she created this as a solution for students to take a small number of ingredients and make a meal. So we probably call it like a 1 skillet meal or an oven ready meal where you have limited ingredients, you put them together, you come up with something great. We turned it into a competition between the student athletes. So this happened last summer as part of our Summer Bridge program. We had about 40 student athletes. They were put into groups. They were given specific ingredients and they had to come up with a meal and they had to explain that. And then we had judges that did their taste testing. I think Trevor was a judge at that time. This was, again, an opportunity for us to talk about the College of Agriculture, to talk about extension, to talk about wellness in Houston, talk about our farm, but then also to equip them with meals that they could prepare in their dorms or apartments as they are now. When we think about food access, Prairie View is a food desert. There is no main grocery store here. So the more that we can educate our students on simple, quick, and inexpensive meals, the better they can perform. In the center is Kim Ratcliffe. I will talk about her a little bit more detail in a minute. But congratulations to our SWAC bowling team champions. They had a great opportunity to connect with Kim about 2 weeks ago. Lashika was here to talk about athletics. My team was there to cover that event. She found out that they won. She was on campus. She fed them. She talked to them about her story. And it really was an opportunity for them to see a very successful woman, Black female rancher that's doing some really great things across the state, for them to connect with her and learn about her and how she has impacted athletics. So about 1.5 years ago, give or take now, Kim reached out and she said, I've heard about athletics. How can I help? How can I get involved? And it's been uphill ever since. She's done so much for our student athletes. It would take me an hour to go through all of the events and all of the things that she's done. Everything from sponsoring our homecoming tailgate, where she fed about 3,000 people in a record 4 hours, maybe. She's also sponsored our lunch and learn sessions with our football coaches, soccer, a lot of the other coaches that were able to participate. But she has really allowed us to merge what we're doing with what she's already doing across professional sports, particularly the NFL.
Hi, my name is Antoine Riggins. I'm the head baseball coach at Prairie View A&M. Events like this help young athletes have an opportunity to ask questions to big leaguers about the game.
So as you'll see, athletics is more than just nutrition education. It really is workforce development, career education, leadership, everything you can think about that goes into being a successful student athlete that ultimately lends to being a successful student or a successful human is tied into the athletics initiative. This particular event was hosted by Career Services in partnership with athletics. But you see, my team was there because athletics is everywhere. And it's very important for us to understand how our athletic department is connecting with our student athletes, those relationships that they have, and how can the relationships that we have and the resources that we have support what they're already doing. So this was an event for the baseball team in particular, because of the Astros sponsorship of such, to learn more about internships, career opportunities for those interested in the Astros organization. It was a great moment for them to see and hear from players, from the leadership staff, but learn about the fact that in the Astros organization and any other professional organization with sports, it's more than just the players and the coaches. There's administrative staff, there's leadership, there's marketing, there's communications, there's all of your sports medicine and training and physical therapy and mental health. So they really got to see this kind of wraparound picture of what it could mean for them to work for the Astros organization. And that, again, was an opportunity for them to see internships, connect with the career services people here on campus, as well as those who work for the Astros. So it's going to take a minute to talk about our protein partner, Kim Ratcliffe. She is photographed there on our ranch, but she has a ranch up in Oakwood, Texas, if I'm not mistaken about the city, where her family raises sustainable beef. She also works with a lot of ranchers in the area. And interestingly enough, we have on our campus something called Hilltop Reserve, which is a student pantry. Ratcliffe Meats is in the student pantry here on campus. So she has a partnership with the Houston Food Bank that provides ground beef and other cuts of beef to a geographical area. And we literally just found out last week that her beef had made it this far, which was pretty cool. Again, she's a really good athletics partner. She's connected with our athletics department. She's connected with several coaches, and she goes above and beyond to make sure that we have what we need in order to support student athletes. So really grateful for that partnership. Honey Stinger is another partner that we're super excited to have on board. Kind of the same thing with Kim Ratcliffe. They found out about athletics and we got connected, and it's been great ever since. They provided product to men's basketball, women's basketball, football, golf. I started keeping Honey Stinger in my pocket because the players would see me and it's like, you got some Honey Stinger, you got some Honey Stinger. And I'm like, okay. It's a flat protein waffle, an organic product that is very well received by athletes. And Honey Stinger as a company started out with trail mix and bars and focused more on rock climbers and different type of athlete. And over the past several years, they've gotten more engaged with the collegiate sports. So your football, basketball, and whatnot. And we're excited to, across our 18 sports, to partner with them because they do not have that type of relationship with any other institution. So it's another opportunity for research and development. They have a new flavor that's out right now. And so that's a way that our students can get involved in some applied research and real time case studies, different things like that, that Honey Stinger is interested in learning more about what we do. The graphic on the left is just, it's almost lunchtime. And although I'm not feeding you Ratcliffe Premium Meats, she does put out a very good product. This is from a promotional series that my team did to promote her being at Tailgate. Again, 3,000 plus pieces of brisket tacos, sliders that she was able to distribute in less than 4 hours. We had planned for the entire homecoming day, but the response was so great. And we just had a really good opportunity for her to come to the campus, so much so that other colleges started reaching out to her saying, we want that at our homecoming. And she was like, hold on. That was a unique opportunity. But again, Kim is very ingrained into Prairie View A&M University through her family. And so just the connection that we have with athletics. So things like student success, recruitment and retention, research and innovation, and revenue generation. There's not enough time for me to go into that. Things like name, image, and likeness for our student athletes, NIL, if you've heard that acronym, it's a real thing. It's a game changer. It is changing the face of athletics and collegiate sports, and well, not even collegiate sports, just sports in general. Through industry partnerships, through a lot of the research and development, through the collaborations that we have, not just here, but across campus and other institutions. This is what athletics is, and ultimately revenue generation that can lead to that increased recruitment, retention, opportunities for research, and a way to elevate what we are all doing. So we call it a roster, like in sports. You have a roster, right? Your roster of players. So instead of our investors or supporters or partners, we call it a roster. We've created a really robust roster so far, and that is growing. And so anyone here that's interested in learning more about athletics or connecting in a different way, you can reach out to me. There's a QR code, student athlete. So if you notice at the beginning, it was an athlete and now it's an aglete, because we want students to look at agriculture and nutrition and some of our opportunities as majors, and not be afraid to come over to agriculture and not be afraid to learn about these different things, because whether they go to play in the NFL or the UFL or Major League Baseball or soccer or whatever it is, these are life skills, things that they can apply to any industry that they go into. And we want them to be a part of what we're doing. So our partners, our researchers, there are a lot of researchers in this room right now that are doing some really, really great things, everything from the Poultry Center to medicinal plants, all of the things that can help support our student athletes. You can scan that QR code if you want to leave your information. Any questions?
Great. This is a great presentation. And do you have questions for our speaker? I will start from my left side here.
So much. That was a wonderful presentation. And I'm glad you slightly mentioned microbiology, but I guess I have two parts. One is like a statement, the other one is a question. So from agriculture, from farm to plate to actual human body, microorganisms always, they are there. They are the ones processing every step of the way. With the nutrition, you mentioned about teaching the athletes to wash their hands. So that's another basic kind of safety, food safety. But at the fundamental of nutrition lies microbiome. So the reason good food or healthy nutrition is recommended is that you activate a different part of microbiome, which you actually need to perform or to function. So that's kind of one statement. So it's essential for us to kind of understand the shift in microbiome in terms of healthy athletes and maybe the ones that go on to become like exceptional. So I guess that leads to my question. Has there been any kind of science-based evidence to show a link between good nutrition and performance?
So yes, there has been, and I actually have a one-sheeter that I can send you that shows some of that research. And a big part of what Aggletics is doing is filling a gap in the research.
Okay.
So it's not just the research that has taken place, but then also what are our researchers doing here that can apply and fill in those gaps. So there have been some connections, but we're evaluating how we can best approach that with the resources and the skill set that we have here within this college. So that's why researchers are important, because your question is very relevant. And there is a difference between nutrition and performance just on an everyday level, and then that student athlete that takes things to another level when they have adequate support and education.
Yeah. Another kind of more like a question, but also kind of an input into maybe something that your group can look into, because I was once I was reached out to by this company in New York. What they do is they isolate the microbiome of top national US athletes
Mhm.
and extract, of course, from their feces. They purify the microorganisms. Of course, they've done a lot of microbiome research, and they are now selling their microbiome as probiotics, like that you can have in yogurts.
Yeah.
So that's something that you can also look into. This also kind of solidifies when athletes visualize the differences in microbiome. So what you feed, you kind of shape the communities within your body. And we know that bacteria is actually much more than actual human cells, slightly more than human cells. So whatever you feed grows. And in turn, you probably might see that reflect on your strength on the field. And maybe I'm going too far, but basically there's a lot more new market to tap
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But I guess for students that are still starting up, maybe seeing that difference in like, oh, we have this community more in these successful athletes compared to this might encourage them to sustain a better nutrition.
Yeah, so very good points and very relevant. And I just want to take a minute to recognize AD Goff, head football coach Tremaine Jackson, and give me your title. Director of Football Performance, Coach Tommy Moore, because collectively, a lot of what you're talking about, we've had conversations about. So I want to connect with you on that specific company because the probiotics, things like the Bod Pod, really looking at what they're eating, how they're eating it, the timing of their eating versus their workout is going to be really important. And that entire team and many others are exploring those options. So there's the gap in research that we could help fill. Right.
So you introduce new community into your system.
Yeah.
But you still need that good nutrition to sustain them.
Good point.
So even when you take antibiotics, sometimes you kill off the good ones.
Right,
But you
right.
still have to reestablish that colonies within the human.
Yeah.
Right.
Good points.
We have another question here.
This was an amazing presentation. Really enjoyed it. A couple of questions. One, what data are you capturing from the athletes, if any? And then the second question is, you have so many great initiatives. Did you work with a researcher to map them with any type of theory, or is there anything published on this, or?
So that's the other gap in the research that we see. Coach Moore specifically captures a lot of data with our students. Things like the Bod Pod, which gives a lot of metrics for student athletes that he can utilize to really individualize their workouts and their nutrition plans. So Dr. Robinson, in your area, you're sitting next to the person that you need to talk to because there's definitely an opportunity for Dr. Robinson's research in nutrition and specific communities to connect with our student athletes and address that gap, because we have looked, and I can share that same one pager with you. And we don't see a lot of what we're doing and what I've talked about. We don't see that in the research. We see certain things, but we don't see necessarily from the conversations that we've had, the qualitative data that we collected, the sideline conversations, connecting with coaches across sports. That's part of what makes athletics so unique. It's not just football, it's basketball, it's golf, it's soccer. It's male, it's female, it's bringing in a lot of different groups and a lot of different sports in a way that just has not happened. So instead of isolating that one sport, we're looking at, yes, those individual sports, but then student athlete population as a whole and what makes them thrive and what makes them perform better. So happy to connect with you.
So yeah, I was gonna say, I definitely want to, even without the data, just the different strategies you have. I've done work with just mapping it with theory.
Yeah.
So that you can see that these interactive strategies, so there's so many, I was like, that could be mapped with theory. So
Yeah.
I'd love to work.
Welcome
with you
to
on
the
that.
party.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question in the back. Dean D'Souza is going to ask a question or make a comment.
Talk about what a truly historic occasion this is. The very first time we've had folks from the athletic department come here to the research department, which is really the heart of the land grant institution. And the fact that AD Goff and other coaches found their way to this building is really amazing. And I should also recognize that we had some partners across the university, all the way from P to P. What I mean is parking and payroll in the house. So athletics is one of the most important, but the other two important units are parking and payroll. So they are in the house too. But at the end of the day, amazing presentation. So great to have this amazing partnership. And AD Goff presented his strategic plan at the President's Cabinet recently. Phenomenal job. He mentioned athletics there. And so we hope to continue this partnership and grow together in this journey to eminence 2035. So thanks again for launching this initiative and welcome to our partners. Please continue to visit. I should also say Wellness in Houston is in the house. And so Jayland is in the house. He's the president of the Rodeo Club. So AD Goff and I have talked about, having horses on the farm.
Rodeo is a sport.
Having a driving range, a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So exciting times indeed. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. I do want to note a couple of other people that are in the audience that are not normally here. Miles McCaney, say hi. Miles McCaney was our first athletics ambassador. So probably this time last year, we saw Miles, and funny, you have this gallon of water sitting next to you. Miles is intense about hydration. And he wanted to pass that on to his team. So we did Monday with Miles, and we brought in just barrels and barrels of lemons and water and let him have at it with our social media, and got a lot of his teammates to start drinking water because they had never added things like oranges or lemons or cucumbers. So thank you for being here. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Athletics. Being at Prairie View, a lot of kids come from, broken homes, broken families. So the educational piece of eating properly, nutrition, getting the energy you need from the food, that's kind of lacking in that area. So having this initiative with athletics and the people putting their arms around them, bringing the student body together, the community, the teams, football, basketball, track, this is key. I used to suffer from migraines because I used to eat too much processed food. I had to go to a neurologist. We found out I was eating too much McDonald's, Wendy's. So that's what kind of motivated me to eat properly, get the nutrition I need to perform at the best of my ability. So once I started to focus on that, my game went to the next level. I was presented with the opportunity to play professional football in Brazil. I went there for 6 months. I ate the food there. My body, I got even stronger. I'm eating food with no chemicals, no pesticides. I felt amazing. I came back. UFL gave me an opportunity. I was with the Memphis Showboats for their training camp. We're eating well there. I'm going against NFL guys. I'm getting the film that I need. I'm looking at the difference. These guys are telling me how much they eat. I'm asking them questions. It's in the diet. They're built bulked up. It's what they're eating. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting real information from guys that are with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots. I'm asking them questions. I'm picking their brain. So this is the key. This is where it starts. Nutrition is the foundation. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we don't want to forget about our online. Go ahead.
Dr. Ferris, I have to get a shout out to Amon Green.
Sure.
So Amon Green, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Real quick, I'll make this fast. So Amon Green, former Green Bay Packer, all-time leading rusher. But I'm gonna echo what Miles says. So those athletes were kind of like my age, throwing the nuggets of information at him, because as a professional, we have our diet down to a science. So having you two get together here, what is your name again? Janelle Robinson, Coach Moore, is priority number one, because I was at the University of Nebraska 30 years ago and we had this. That's why I am a two-time national champ, because the foundation of our program was our nutrition. We had Dave Ellis. You could look him up. You could Google him. Dave Ellis is a renowned nutritionist that, since he was at Nebraska in 95, he was there before me, but 95, 96, 97, all my years at Nebraska, we won either national titles or division championships or conference championships. And the foundation was our nutrition. We had the weight room with Boyd Epley, who was bigger, faster, stronger. That means he evolutionized weight training to where what Miles does, what I do from a weightlifting standpoint, he was the apex at that time. So we had the top people at both weightlifting and nutrition in our department as our coach. I could walk into Dave Ellis' office and say, hey, I'm lactose intolerant. What's another option I could pick at the food table during lunch or dinner? Or I don't want to eat, I'm tired of beef. What's another good option? So I could go to a nutritionist, certified professional, and or go to Boyd Epley and say, hey, I want to get my squat a little bit higher, or I want to get stronger in my hang clean. What can I do? So I had him and then all his assistant coaches around him. So having coaches, scientists, doctors work together is why from an Olympic level, as you see, right? Olympic athletes, they don't mess around with their nutrition. They don't mess around with their training. They have the top of the top. So I would say giving the kids at this university in the athletic department and really all across campus, the education, the science behind it, and the data to carry on with it will give them that knowledge to then when they push it forward, whatever they're going to be, they might just graduate to be a mom and dad, but still they can now educate their kids on how to how to diet themselves. That's where my mom and my older sister, they were the healthy people in our family. And I would get in, I was 8 years old trying to figure out why I'm eating this taco or burrito that tastes like barley, But as I grew up, I figured it out. I was like, okay, I see this with mom. And my sister Tasha was teaching me about drinking water, eating this, eating more vegetables, eating fruit. So that was my quick introduction. But yeah, I've been part of the program with Takidra Miles, and brought me in a few months ago. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm gonna be here actually doing some panels with the coaches later on today. So
Spring
it's junior
game
day.
is today.
Yep.
At 6 o'clock. How ironic this is happening
Yeah.
on the same day as spring game. And Wellness in Houston will be a part of tailgate at spring game, which is something else that we did with them last year. So 5 home games, Wellness in Houston and their mobile kitchen was at every single home game, along with other events last year. So thank you, AD Goff, and you guys for being here. We appreciate your support. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We don't want to forget our online audience. We have Ebony's. She's saying great presentation. What other activities can we expect to see from athletics and wellness in Houston?
Oh, Ebony, today at tailgate, athletics and wellness in Houston will be in the concourse, inside the stadium, as well as outside on the grass in front of the athletics admin building with the mobile kitchen. And there's a lot more to come from Wellness in Houston.
Another question is, are there plans in place to potentially expand the athletics presentations to invite high school students, athletes, and FFA programs?
Yes, indeed. So we started here with athletics to create that model so that we could see what was needed, what's happening in the sports athletic space, ag tech space. So as I mentioned before, rodeo is a sport. FFA is tied into rodeo significantly. So there are opportunities for us to take athletics at the collegiate level, move it up to another professional level, and then also take it down to high school, middle school, elementary, and then just families in general, because this is not just for student athletes, it's for any person. So good question.
Yes. I want to first commend you. You just answered my question about bringing it down to the high school level. I want to commend you and your team for what you're doing. It's so important. I also just want to, I guess, make a statement. You know, the students who are coming from urban areas, they oftentimes don't have experience with land, with soil and things like this. So I think it's awesome to use that connection with athletics to build that bridge. You know, if a student who is aspiring to go professional misses and ends up with a really great nutrition background and maybe even a lucrative career in agriculture, I think we have done something really good. So congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. And if you want to stay connected, use your phone for this QR code to get informed, right?
Yes.
To be in the mailing list or.
Take the copy of the triag that's in front of you, there's an article in here about athletics. It was one of the first articles that we published back in 2024, but it gives a nice overview of the program and then all of our research centers here within the College of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources and how that piles into the athletics initiative.
We also have a busy week next week, so maybe Associate Dean Memel can give us an overview of next week activities as well.
Well, thank you all. First off, I echo everybody. This is a great opportunity. I also see the values of what Dr. Robinson mentioned. I think there's a lot to harness from this, where you do a study, well-planned in advance, what you're going to target, what you're going to measure, how you're going to translate and harness the value of those results for both our athletes and for advancement of science. So there's really a room for a lot. And you know, the capacity building grants, especially in teaching track would be suitable. Evans Allen grants would be suitable for academics and others to collaborate and develop proposals for. So this is a research sort of month teaming up or led by our research and innovation on campus. So there's a lot of things going on. So I encourage you to stay engaged. If you Google, you will see their programs. On the 25th, we have exciting programs. First, we have a very exciting book launch. Can you tell us in 2 sentences, Dr. Fairs, about the book launch? And everybody's invited.
Thank you. I have some flyers here. I think I was ready. I hope. Can you
Yeah.
please pass on?
Stay ready.
So this is a book that was published by joint project between UNESCO, International Water Resource Association, Springer, and also Prairie View A&M University. It's about a conference that happened 2 years ago on emergent contaminant in water resources. This is a very serious problem that we have to find solution to it. So this book will be, it's already available online. The flyer has the URL connection when you can download it free, and it's available. It talks about different topics. As I said, emergent contaminant in water is very important for our water security and food security. Thank you, Dr.
Great.
Zin.
So remember, food, water. Water is as critical, if not more critical than food. So there's one program on the 25th. Please put your calendars. And then we're going to have a speaker. If you remember, Ambassador Bost from Texas A&M, bringing us additional information to the campus level, talking about global opportunities, collaborations among the universities, researchers, and everybody. And also, we're going to have a speaker from North Carolina State University, Dr. Stephen Lomel, who's the director of the experiment station, talking about ag innovation. I'm happy to tell you that our programs, our great research ideas that the prominent researchers are pursuing are all aligned with ag innovation. Top line, there's a roadmap he's going to share with you all, and I want our community to be at the forefront of research priorities, especially in times of unclear and situations that we know these days. But you are all smarter. We're going to align ourselves with the future, with ag innovation for good. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think one more time, our speaker for a great presentation and engagement of the community here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fayers. So for those of you who don't normally come, there we go. We got to take a picture. We got to take a picture.